5 years ago, she was just a cleaner who got scolded every single day, no matter how hard she worked. Today, she stands as a CEO of her own successful company. And the same manager who made her life miserable now sat nervously in front of her office desk. But her story didn't begin with success. It began with exhaustion, pressure, and silent suffering. Every morning, no matter how tired she felt, she still showed up to work on time. For almost a year, she gave everything she had to this company. She wasn't lazy, she wasn't careless. She was one of the hardest workers in the building. Before the office workers even arrived, her day had already begun. Every glass panel, every corner, every surface, she cleaned it with pride and meticulous care. But no matter how hard she worked, one person always made her job miserable. Her manager never looked for effort, only mistakes, even invisible ones. She apologized quietly, even when she knew she had done her best. Not once did he ever appreciate her hard work. While the city rushed to begin another busy morning, she silently cleaned the floors, carrying frustrations nobody could see. Every morning, before important meetings began, she made sure everything looked perfect. But somehow, he always walked in looking for problems instead of effort. No matter how hard she tried, it was never enough for him. Lunch break was the only quiet moment she had. A cheap sandwich, coffee, and a few minutes to breathe. But even that small moment of peace never lasted long. The moment he entered the room, everyone immediately stood up in silence. She never even finished her lunch. Work always came first. At least, that's how they treated her. From the lobby to the restrooms, she cleaned every corner with meticulous care. But the manager only cared about one thing: making himself look important in front of the bosses. Little by little, the frustration inside her kept growing. Sometimes, the only thing keeping her going were the coworkers who understood her pain. She smiled and said she was okay, even when she clearly wasn't. When the office became quiet, her work was still not finished. 6 p.m. Finally, it was time to go home. Just as she was about to leave, the manager handed her another last-minute task. He cared more about promotions and credit than the people working under him. She was exhausted, but saying no was never an option. While the city enjoyed its night, she was still cleaning empty office floors alone. By the time she finally left work, the rain had already taken over the city. Night after night, she sat quietly at the station, carrying exhaustion nobody noticed. And during those lonely train rides home, she often wondered how much longer she could keep living like this. Every night, she returned to the same tiny apartment, carrying exhaustion heavier than her own body. And after working this hard every single day, this was all she had left in her bank account. Some nights, she was too tired to even enjoy her own dinner. But no matter how exhausted she felt, life still had to go on the next day. 6 a.m., another morning, another day she didn't feel ready for, but had no choice except to continue. Every morning, she looked at herself in the mirror, trying to convince herself she could survive one more day. Rain or shine, tired or broken, she still showed up to work on time. But that morning, everything finally reached its limit. In front of everyone, he humiliated her again. The entire room went silent, while she stood there, embarrassed, trying to hold herself together. For months, she stayed quiet, but this time, something inside her finally snapped. Once again, he blamed her for something completely insignificant. After almost a year of pressure, disrespect, and humiliation, she finally spoke back. The hallway exploded into a heated argument, shocking everyone around them. Fueled by anger and pride, the manager made a decision that would change both of their lives forever. For a moment, she couldn't even process what just happened. Without saying another word, she threw her staff card onto the table and walked away. After giving everything she had to that company, this was how her story there ended. She walked alone through the rain, with nowhere to go, and no idea what would happen next. And for the first time in a long while, she allowed herself to cry. The pain was still there, but so was her determination. Now unemployed and broke, she searched desperately for any job she could find. Without high education or qualifications, delivery work was one of the few options she had left. Her new job began with fear, uncertainty, and survival. Every day, she cycled across London, delivering food just to pay the bills. Rain, cold, exhaustion, none of it mattered anymore. She just needed to survive. Then one day, something caught her attention. For the first time, she realized her cleaning skills actually had value. That day, an idea changed her entire future. The more she wrote, the more excited she became. With only $100 saved, she took her very first risk. No office, no investors, just courage and a phone and laptop. Every flyer she handed out carried a small piece of hope. Then suddenly, her first customer called. She cleaned that apartment like her future depended on it, because it did. For the first time in a long while, someone appreciated her hard work. That small payment felt bigger than any salary she had ever earned. That day, she finally smiled again. One client became 2, then 3, then even more. Every day, she carried her supplies alone, chasing a dream nobody could see yet. And every night, she handled the business completely by herself. Soon, her phone wouldn't stop ringing. The business was growing faster than she could handle alone. So she rented a tiny storage shop, her very first business space. It wasn't luxurious, but to her, it felt like the beginning of something big. Hiring her first employee felt terrifying, but exciting. For the first time, she wasn't building alone anymore. That small team became the family she never had at work. And slowly, her little business started looking real. Unlike her old manager, she treated every worker with respect. Together, they cleaned offices across the city professionally. Happy clients kept recommending her company everywhere. Soon, every week was fully booked. 2 years later, the business had grown beyond her imagination. What started with one cleaner had now grown into a thriving company with dozens of employees. This time, lunch breaks were filled with laughter instead of fear. She invested every dollar back into growing the company. And bigger corporations finally started taking her seriously. One contract after another, her empire kept growing. 5 years later, everything had changed. The cleaner everyone ignored was now the CEO. Every employee greeted her with genuine respect. She no longer cleaned offices, she led them. Because she never forgot what it felt like to be mistreated. Then when she is in her office, something unexpected appeared. Her ex-manager walked into the building nervously. and the moment he entered her office, he froze. The same woman he once humiliated now sat in the CEO chair. But instead of revenge, she chose dignity. 8 years ago, she was fired, broke, and hopeless. But pain made her stronger. She learned that great companies aren't built by one person alone. They grow by appreciating every hardworking employee. In the end, success was never about revenge. It was about becoming a better leader. Please subscribe for more videos.